On November 24, 1971, a man calling himself Don Cooper paid $20 in cash for a one-way ticket from Portland to Seattle. He sat in seat 18C, ordered a bourbon and soda, and handed a note to a flight attendant named Florence Shaw. It didn't contain his phone number. It contained a list of demands for $200,000 and 4 parachutes. By 8:13 p.m., Cooper was gone, leaving behind a clip-on tie and a mystery that the FBI would officially fail to solve for the next 45 years. Most people spend their Thanksgiving Eve arguing with relatives over dry turkey. Don Cooper spent his jumping out of the rear stairs of a Boeing 727 into a 170-knot freezing rainstorm. He didn't have a GPS, a thermal suit, or a guaranteed landing zone. He had a briefcase with 8 red cylinders connected to wires, a business suit, and a pair of loafers. In this video, we are tracking the 2,100-page FBI file to understand how a middle-aged man in a suit managed to vanish from a pressurized cabin at 10,000 feet without leaving a single trace of his DNA other than on a $12 JCPenney tie. You will see why the most expensive manhunt in American history was eventually defeated by a simple mechanical latch and a very large forest. The question isn't just where he went, but why he chose the specific altitude of 10,000 feet, a detail that suggests he knew more about the Boeing 727 than the people who built it. Northwest Orient Flight 305 was a 30-minute hop. It's barely enough time for a modern airline to give you a bag of pretzels, but in 1971, it was enough time for a hijacking. Cooper was described as being in his mid-40s, roughly 6 feet tall, wearing a black raincoat and dark sunglasses. Was polite. He paid his drink tab when the plane landed in Seattle to exchange the 36 passengers for the money. He even insisted the flight crew get meals brought on board. He wasn't a fanatic. He was a project manager with a very high-risk exit strategy. The FBI provided the $200,000 in $10,020 bills, all with serial numbers, starting with the letter L. They also provided 4 parachutes, 2 primary and 2 reserves. Cooper rejected the military-grade parachutes offered first, demanding civilian ones with manual This was the first sign that this wasn't his first time falling through the sky. At 7:40 p.m., the plane took off again. Headed for Mexico City, Cooper had very specific instructions. The landing gear must remain down, the flaps set at 15 degrees, and the cabin remained unpressurized. He wanted the plane slow and low. At 8 p.m., a warning light flashed in the cockpit. The rear air stairs had been lowered. The pilot, William Scott, asked over the intercom if Cooper needed assistance. Cooper's final recorded words were, "No." At 8:13 p.m., the tail of the aircraft suddenly pitched upward. This was the moment Cooper jumped. He entered an environment of -7 degrees Fahrenheit, with a wind chill that would make exposed skin freeze in seconds. He was wearing loafers. Here, the history takes another direction. The authorities assumed he would land near Lake Merwin. They sent 400 soldiers and FBI agents to comb the woods. They found nothing. No parachute, no briefcase, no body. They didn't even find a footprint in the mud. For 9 years, the only evidence that Don Cooper ever existed was the collective memory of a flight crew and a few grainy sketches. In February 1980, an 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram was vacationing at Tena Bar on the Columbia River. While raking the sand to build a campfire, he found 3 bundles of cash. It was $5,800 in $20 bills, rotting and held together by rubber bands. The serial numbers matched the Cooper ransom. This discovery didn't solve the case. It complicated it. The money was found 20 miles away from the projected drop zone. Geologists analyzed the silt on the bills and found they had been buried there around 1974, 3 years after the jump. If Cooper died in the woods in 1971, how did his money go on a 3-year vacation before burying itself on a riverbank? Scientific analysis of the tie Cooper left behind revealed particles of pure titanium and rare earth elements like cerium and strontium. In 1971, these were not common. They were used in specialized chemical plants or Boeing's own supersonic transport project. Cooper wasn't just a random thief. He likely worked in the aerospace industry he was currently robbing. If you find the logistics of 1970s air security as questionable as Cooper's choice of footwear, you might want to see our analysis of other cold cases. Subscribe to keep the data flowing. The legacy of Dan Cooper isn't just a mystery. It's a physical part of every Boeing aircraft you fly today. After the jump, the FAA mandated the installation of the Cooper vane, a simple mechanical wedge that prevents the rear stairs from being opened while the plane is in flight. In July 2016, the FBI officially suspended the investigation. They had processed over 800 suspects. They had DNA profiles that matched no one. The cost of the investigation far exceeded the $200,000 stolen. Cooper didn't just steal money. He stole the idea that the government could account for every person within its borders. He proved that if you are polite enough and choose a rainy enough night, you can simply opt out of existence. We started with a man in seat 18C who ordered a bourbon. The FBI's final theory isn't that he was a mastermind, but that he likely died within seconds of hitting the air. The wind would have stripped his clothes, and the impact with the Douglas fir trees would have been equivalent to hitting a brick wall. However, the fact remains, not a single bone, shred of parachute silk, or plastic briefcase handle has ever been recovered. If he died, the forest was remarkably efficient at cleaning up the crime scene. If he lived, he is currently in his perhaps still favoring bourbon and soda, watching the sky and knowing something the FBI never will. The mystery remains because Cooper didn't leave a body, and the river only gave back 3% of the loot. He remains the only person in history to hijack an American plane and successfully walk or fall away from it. We examined the facts that the official reports often leave in the margins. If you value evidence over speculation, join our community by subscribing. Tell us in the comments. Do you think the river moved the money? Or did Cooper?